Hey, Ben,
My man.
we're talking about today is this holiday weekend, holiday shopping. I mean, honestly, if you're a home shopper and you've been out there for, shopping for, 6 months or a year or whatever, these holiday weekends, specifically like this one, where a lot of the buyers are like you, that they want to go to the lake, they want to take some time off. If you're in the market, if you stay in town, which is my advice, if you're really, especially if you have a family and you're looking to get into schools by the end of the summer, this weekend's the perfect weekend to stay in town and not have as much competition. And Ben will still be there to get your pre-approval letter done. If somebody goes and finds the house that they want on Saturday,
Yeah.
and they don't have a pre-approval letter yet,
Yep.
what do they need to get to you on Saturday in order for you to get them a pre-approval letter?
Number one, we're going to do an application. So either we're going to do an application over the phone. I love doing applications over the phone. If they don't want to, I can text them or email them a link and they can do it online. And then from there, if they can upload their pay stubs, I really need to verify the pay and the assets. And then of course, when they do the application, I'm going to pull in credit. I'm going to look at credit scores. I'm going to look at all their liabilities, make sure there's no bankruptcies or foreclosures or a bunch of collections that we need to address or whatever. But if it's a cookie cutter deal and they're salaried employee, not variable income, we can knock those things out fast. So, I mean, it doesn't take us long at all.
Okay, so maybe in a couple hours, something like that, they'll have a pre-approval letter.
I take way too much respect in my business because what I'm not going to do, I'm just not going to write a letter to write a letter because my reputation's on the line, your reputation's on the line. Like, I want to verify income, assets. Where's down payment coming from? I'm going to verify all of that because the last thing I want to do, I'm not going to put especially how the market's changing and a lot more offers are getting accepted. What I don't want to do is send out a bogus letter without verifying information because that just makes it bad. Because at the end of the day, we're telling everybody, oh, you need to use a local lender. Well, the local lender needs to make sure they're doing their job. And so I take pride in making sure that, you're not going to get a 30-minute pre-approval letter from me. I want to verify income and assets and credit before I do anything.
That's good to know, and I know if I'm a listing agent and I get a pre-approval letter from you or any other lender, I'm calling you that weekend, and I'm going to ask those questions like, hey, how much do you know about this buyer? How good to go are they?
And the thing is, the past 2 years, we've gotten into a habit where the team and we're sending out emails and text messages and phone calls to the listing agent when you're putting in the offer anyways, because we want our offer to get accepted. So I'm saying, hey, Tyler, this has been at ATL Mortgage. I just want to let you know that Lauren has submitted all of her documentation. She's completed the application. I've reviewed credit. We have verified down payment. She is ready to go. We can close this deal in 21 days or less.
There you go. Yeah, that's good. So, yeah.
If we're knocking that out right away, then we don't have to worry about, anything coming back on us. And I want to reach out to that listing agent before they reach out to us.
Right. That always makes me feel better as a listing agent if a lender reaches out to me and says, hey, you just got a offer from my client and they're good to go. Everything is great. Because I know a lender, a reputable lender is not going to say that if it's not the truth. Because once, like you just said, that's your reputation on the line if you get under contract and then that person can't get approved for the loan.
Right. And not saying that anything couldn't come up, right? I mean, something could come up at underwriting, on title, whatever, that could hurt the deal. But if I'm not verifying at least their income and assets and credit, we're in bad shape.
Yeah. So what I wanted to talk about is some tips on taking advantage of this weekend, and specifically looking at houses that have been on the market a little bit longer. So in this market, as you know, a house that's been sitting on the market for more than a week is, the seller is already thinking what's wrong. The listing agent's already thinking what's the problem because houses are selling in a matter of days. Now things have cooled off in the market a little bit as we've talked about. So, they might not be as anxious after 7, but 2 weeks or 30 days, if they've been on the market that long, they're starting to realize they're a problem. And here's the number one problem: price. That is always 99 times out of 10. Nine times out of 10, if a house has been sitting on the market for more than 30 days, there's a problem with the price. So go back and look at some of those houses that you maybe looked at before, or they've crossed your path, and see if any of those work for you now, maybe even at a lower price. And this weekend may be a good weekend to get one of those under contract with less competition, and also where the seller may be thinking, all right, it's a holiday weekend. I want to enjoy my 4th of July too. Let's just get this thing under contract. It's been sitting here for 30 days. Let's get it under contract. And one of the things that I wrote down here that I think, and I'm gonna pull up some houses on the FMLS. One of the things that I was thinking is, if your budget, let's say your budget is $500,000, ask your agent today or tomorrow to send you a list of houses that are listed at 525 to 550 or 550 and under, and that have been on the market for more than 30 days, and go see some of those houses. If there are things, a couple of them, pick a few that you really like and go check those out. Because if they've been on the market for more than 30 days, as I just said, normally there's a problem with price. And this weekend, if you submit a good, solid offer, this may be the weekend that the seller is going to be like, all right, let's just get this thing under contract and move forward, and I can enjoy my holiday weekend, because not only are a lot of buyers at the lake, but a lot of sellers want to go to the lake too, or want to go to the beach, or just enjoy their weekend. That doesn't mean that you're going to be able to get a steal necessarily, but if you can get, you may be able to get it under list price a little bit, but you also need to make that offer very, very solid otherwise. So you probably won't have to give up your appraisal contingency, but make it reasonable and short, and keep your due diligence period reasonable, and put a reasonable close date on there. If the seller needs a little bit of temporary occupancy, give that to them as well if you can. And you may be able to get a house this weekend that you weren't expecting to get. So
I'll tell you one thing, appraisals are coming back quicker, underwriting's quicker, we can close a lot quicker. You can make some very competitive offers out there. We can literally get an appraisal back in Metro Atlanta in 3 days right now.
That's awesome. You can get an appraisal back in 3 days right now?
Yep.
Man. So that's great. And that's, like I said, you might not have to give up, right now, especially if a house has been sitting on the market for more than 30 days and you're the only buyer who looked at it this weekend. You probably aren't going to have to give up your appraisal. But if you can put a 7-day appraisal contingency on there, that looks really attractive to the seller.
Or do like a 5-day due diligence and write 0-day appraisal.
There you go. Okay, well, there you go. Get your agent. If you are going to stay in town this weekend to home shop and you want to see everything that's on the market, get your agent today or tomorrow to send you a list of the houses that are 25, maybe even 50,000 over your criteria. Houses that maybe you haven't even seen yet because they're over your criteria. And houses that have been sitting on the market for more than 30 days. Okay. So I'm looking at the FMLS. There are almost 1,400 houses in Fulton County alone that have been sitting on the market for over 30 days. So let's say your budget is $500,000. Have your agent send you properties that are in the 500 to 550 range, and I'm going to put that in real quick. There are right now, just in Fulton County, 69 homes that have been sitting on the market for over 30 days in the 500 to 550 price range. Let me check Cobb County. Cobb County, there are 80 homes that have been sitting on the market for more than 30 days that are in the 500 to 550 range. So if you have been shopping for a while and you're going to stay in town and look this weekend, have your agent send you a list of those homes. If you're looking in Cobb County, like I said, there are 80 homes in Cobb County right now that have been on the market for more than 30 days that are just in that 500 to 550 range. If your range is up to 550, have them send you homes between 550 and 600, because you probably haven't even seen those houses yet. And this may be the weekend that the seller is going to go, okay, now we understand we're overpriced. And if you give them an offer at 550, they may be ready to take it.
If you have been out there looking for a while and you haven't talked to your lender to get an updated pre-approval, now's the time to do that as well, before they go out of town. And if you can't get a hold of them, of course, you can call me, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But I will tell you that, with the interest rate changes, you might not even qualify for that high. So you really need to make sure that you're running your numbers just with the change in interest rates, right?
That's
because
true.
If you have pre-approval in May, now we're going into July, a pretty big change has happened, the past 60 days. So make sure that your pre-approval is up to date. You still do qualify for that dollar amount that you've been looking in, just to make sure you're playing it safe as well.
Yeah, I mean that's what I have you here for, Ben. Keep me down to earth. Because I'm not looking at when I'm working with buyers. That's what I have you for, is to handle all the number stuff, to let them know what they actually can afford. What I'm looking at are the properties that are inside the budget that they say they have, or the budget they're comfortable with. What they're looking for, and so that's a good point. If they have been, let's say they've been home shopping for 6 months and they haven't got an updated pre-approval, now's the time. I mean, they need to get that because
you got to think, like January and February, like we were still locking people in the threes, high twos, threes, let's say.
Yeah.
March, April, May, June, boy, we're 5.5 to 6.5, depending on the week.
Yeah. I
mean, seriously, that's how dramatic. Rates have never moved that fast in the history of rate. I mean, they went straight up, and so we've had to have a lot of uncomfortable phone calls, like, "Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Borrower, you don't need to be looking in the 500s anymore. You need to be looking in the 400s because that's how much it's changed." Because if you're talking about a 2% swing, that's hundreds of dollars a month.
Yeah.
Right. And so we just need to make sure that we're setting those proper expectations, so they're not going out there, champagne taste on a Bud Light budget. Yeah,
exactly. That is a very good point. If you haven't had your pre-approval updated in the last 90 days, get it updated, because it could be very different. You don't want to be out there looking at $500,000 homes when you can only afford a $400,000 home with these rates. And the same still applies. If your budget has changed, what I just said still applies for this weekend. Take that opportunity to look at some houses that are maybe have been sitting on the market longer. That's number one, sitting on the market a little bit longer. But number two, maybe a little bit over that budget, because this might be the weekend when a seller might be ready to come down on it. I mean, if I got a reasonable offer, if I'm a seller and I got a reasonable offer from a buyer this weekend on Saturday that had short due diligence period, no appraisal contingency or short appraisal contingency, was within, had a reasonable price on there, had a good closing date, and I'd been on the market for 30 days, I might, I think I might be ready to take that offer, because if you haven't reduced the price yet, you've been on the market for 30 days, it's time to reduce the price anyway. I hope you have a good weekend up at the lake, man. We're staying in town, but
what are you guys gonna do? Speak on the pool and all that?
Yeah, I think we're gonna go probably check out some fireworks on Monday, and just hang out at the pool. I think we're gonna go hang out with some friends. I'm going to see Top Gun tomorrow night with some other dads, so that'll be fun. Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I mean, I heard it was good. I heard a lot of good things. So
I heard it's better than the first one.
Yeah. So, anyway, man, have a good weekend. I'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
Later.